What's up guys, this is Preheat, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Disciplinary Command, which is the thing that you need to know about as a Fire Mage changing in 9.0.5, which just dropped today. We're going to be talking about all of this in a video, and we're going to try and keep it to 5 minutes or less, so I'm just going to go really quickly, and we're going to just talk about what's important here, okay? The main thing to look at for Fire Mage is going to be your best legendary. It's no longer Fevered Incantation, and if you're wondering how much of a difference it's going to be, it's about 3%. About 3% if you're talking about like decent itemization for both sets of gear, Disciplinary Command versus Fevered Incantation. So that's actually quite a bit. It's definitely going to be a lot of DPS for you, probably around like 200 DPS or something like that on average. So as far as how you use this new legendary, right? It's very simple. You just need to activate all three of your schools. So that's going to be Frost, Fire, and Arcane. And then it will activate a crit damage buff that lasts for 20 seconds. It also has an internal cooldown of 30 seconds. So basically that means that it can be up 20 seconds out of every 30 seconds, which is pretty good uptime. But what you can do instead is you can just have it only up for combustion, and you actually lose just a very, very, very small amount of value if you do it that way. It's about 0.5% in terms of like what you lose if you just have it up for combustion and then you just ignore it outside of combustion. In terms of how you're going to proc this, so on the pre-pull, you're going to be casting Frost Nova before you begin your sequence on the mob. So basically, in a realistic scenario, right, it'd be like the pull timer is at like 5 seconds or whatever. You use your Frost Nova sometime, 10 seconds before the pull or whatever. And then you go straight into your hard cast Pyro Combustion, right? Now, the reason why you go straight into Combustion and have it proc right without Arcane is because Rune of Power actually activates this too. And Rune of Power automatically drops whenever you pop Combustion. So you don't really need to worry about activating the Arcane aspect of this. And obviously the Fire one's covered by Combustion, right? Now, there's other ways to proc Arcane too, right? Like, obviously you can do Mirror Images, you can do Counter Spell, Shimmer, yada, yada, yada. But also Trinkets work, believe it or not. Yeah, if you have the PvP Trinket, it actually counts as Arcane. So that's another way that's fun to proc it. Now, if you are a Void Elf, I'm going to let you know just right now, just a word of warning, you have a proc that causes Shadow Frost damage, and that is probably going to be a problem for you, okay? Because you're going to be proccing Frost all the time. Frost is generally the school that procs it, right? And if it's proccing all the time, then you're not really going to have that much control in proccing it whenever you need it. So just be aware, as a Void Elf, you might want to race change, or you may not want to craft this legendary. You can play around it, right? I'm not saying don't try to play around it. I'm just saying it's going to be harder for you, okay? So just be aware of that. Now, during the pull, during combat, you're actually going to want to cast Frostbolt instead of Frost Nova to activate the sequence. There's two reasons for this. The first reason is that Frostbolt does not incur a global cooldown after it finishes. And the second reason is it just does more damage, right? And it doesn't have a cooldown. So basically, if you have a Frostbolt cast and it's the one that activates your Disciplinary Command, because you're not locked out of the GCD afterwards, you get more time out of the Disciplinary Command, which is that crit buff that you get. So you have higher uptime overall in terms of your activity. And then obviously the damage one is self-explanatory. I feel like I don't really need to explain that one. But yeah, for Arcane, obviously Rune of Power, CS, Shimmer, Mirror Image. I mean, there's a billion different options for Arcane. Fire is obviously going to be something that's always locked because you're a Fire Mage, right? So don't worry about that one. So yeah, really it just comes down to Frost, and that's the one you really need to worry about. There are other ways that you can proc this though. There's some other fun ways. Obviously I talked about the PvP badge, right? Now there is a secret technique, a forbidden technique I've been using. It's called the endothermic blaster. It's actually a toy. And the way that this toy works, it's a 30-minute cooldown. It's shorter during Winter Veil. You use this toy and it puts a buff on you that lasts 5 minutes, okay? And then it gives you an extra action button. And whenever you press this extra action button, it's this Frost School spell. Like, I don't know why it's coded like this. I don't know why Disciplinary Command is counting this as a spell, but it does, and it doesn't have a GCD, it doesn't have a cast time. Basically, if you use this gun before combat, you'll just be holding this weird, like, water gun the whole time you're fighting the mob, and if you press your extra action button, it will count as Frost. So if you want a little bit of a cheat, and enjoy this while it lasts, because I guarantee you it will not last, okay, especially since I'm talking about it. Just whip out your endothermic blaster, use your extra action button, that will proc Frost for you. Use it while it lasts. Just saying, they're going to fix this really, really quick. I guarantee it. But yeah, that's really all there is to it. So hopefully I covered everything you need to know here. You definitely craft your Disciplinary Command. I recommend crafting it on Ring, just because, even if there is a BOE that comes out for Ring, you still have another BOE slot to put on your Ring, right? So even if we don't know what BOE slots are coming out next year and we don't know the itemization and all that, I think Ring is still a very, very safe option. And also, I mean, you just get more stats out of it too. So it's a good option. But yeah, I'm going to be crafting on the ring. I recommend putting haste on it. Haste Verse or Haste Mastery are the two that I would recommend. Personally, I did Haste Mastery just because it simmed slightly better for me, but obviously do your own sims. But yeah, and enjoy. That's really all I have to talk about on this one. It's you know, there isn't really much to this, right? Just go ahead and start using DC, get used to it. It's really good in Mythic Plus, it's really good in Raid. Anyways, that's all there is to it. Enjoy Endothermic Blaster while it lasts. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.